Hi, I'm Stuart Rogers, co-founder of Badass Empire with Victoria Loskotova. And today in Badass School, we're going to talk about how to name your business or your personal brand or anything that you need naming. Now, back in the day, you could just go through the old Latin dictionary and, look up on Google what the Latin word was for the thing that you were doing, and that would be fine. But once you've seen too many episodes of The Apprentice, either the American version or the British version or any other version that's out there, you realize very quickly that choosing Latin names for your business is pretty lame. And also, most people tend to go for the same ones. Of course, we've been going through years and years and years of naming our startups, naming our businesses, our products, our services. So as we're here in 2020, it becomes increasingly difficult to find good names. We've done all sorts of tricks over the years, especially when it comes to domain names. We've taken out vowels within words. So we can use the word, but we've taken out a vowel, so therefore the domain name is available. And so is the Instagram and the Facebook and the Twitter and everything else that you're going to need along with your domain name. We've added things like "ly" on the end of things, like Bitly, for example. We've added stir, it's like Napster. Every time we add something to a word or prefix something to a word, it causes a stampede of people going out there and getting words with that exact same ending or beginning. As it stands, we're in 2020 and it's incredibly hard to name your business because you have to remember you need not just to have the domain name, and it needs to be a memorable domain name. It needs to be something that is going to be catchy. It needs to be short. But on top of that, it needs to be available for you on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and on all of the other social networks that are going to be sensible for you to use to help promote your business. So how do we find something that is unique and interesting and catchy and short in 2020? Well, first of all, we're not going to be able to show you an entire practical process in the space of a 10-minute video. I can promise you that you are in for several hours, potentially several weeks of trying to find the right solution to this particular thorny problem. But there are some tools out there that can help you to do this. Before we get to the tools, let's talk about naming conventions for a moment. Now, a lot of people who have a business that is named after them obviously go and try and name it after themselves. Now, here's why that's not the best idea. If you have a consulting firm, let's say I started up a consulting firm and I call it Rogers Consulting. Well, that's okay, but it means that the first word, which is Rogers, is more important than the second word, which is consulting. And therefore I'm putting myself first. And whilst that's great for my ego and great for my personal brand, it doesn't really speak much to what I'm consulting about. Consulting is an incredibly broad term. I could be consulting you on how to write effectively, and so it could be all about writing, it could be all about teaching you how to write. I could be consulting you how to sell. I could be consulting you how to market your products and services. I could be consulting you on how to be a digital nomad, how to be a minimalist, how to be a musician, how to sing, how to take photographs. These are all things I do, and I could create a consulting business around those. Rogers Consulting tells you nothing about what I do. And so we have to think about, is there a word that is going to capture what I'm going to teach you, what I'm going to consult you on? Is there a word out there that's going to capture what your product actually does, what your service actually does, what your business actually does? Think about that first. Don't think about your personal brand when it comes to naming your business. You can do, of course, you can take or leave this advice, but I promise you, if you make it about you, as opposed to making it about what it does and how it helps people, then you're missing an opportunity. And, so put your ego aside for a moment, try and focus on words or, a word that are going to describe what you do for people, how you help them. Always remember, people have what we call the WIFM factor, the what's in it for me factor. You have to explain to people what's in it for them so that they are interested in talking to you and buying your products and services. You have to take that all the way back to the domain name and the name of the business as well. Try and figure out something that says, here's what it is, here's what it does, here's what's in it for you. So once you've got a word or several words, I would hope, and you can use all sorts of things. You can just go and look at thesauruses, and you can type a descriptive word in for what it is that you do, and you can come up with all these other words that mean the same thing. So you can look at those, think about them very deeply. Try not to use negative words, negative connotations. Try to focus on the positive ones. You can use words in other languages, but be careful about that. It's very it's very vogue to take the meaning of your product and service and go and check it out on Google Translate in over 40 languages until something you see actually trips off the tongue nice and easily and resonates and is short. But do your research, because a lot of times I've seen companies that have come up with a product name which means something quite defamatory and negative, and in some cases there's a swear word in other countries. And Google Translate and other machine translation services won't necessarily tell you these slang meanings behind these things. So talk to people from those countries and ask, is this okay? And check it in other languages as well and make sure that it's okay. Once you've got a list of words, there are a bunch of tools that you can use that will make your life a lot easier. The first one is Domain Wheel. Now, Domain Wheel is a great domain name generator. What you do with Domain Wheel is you put in a keyword, you hit search domain. What it then does is it goes off and it looks at not just that word. So for example, if you would put in the word consulting into domain name generator, Domain Wheel, what it will do is it will go and look at the word consulting. It will look for all of the available domains only. So this will only show you domains that you can buy right now. It won't just use the word consulting. It will look for alternate words for consulting. It'll put words on the start and do all those sorts of things. It'll put different TLDs, top level domains. Those are the bits after the dot, after the word. And it'll look for some quite obscure ones as well. If you're running a blog, you can actually have word.blog. You can have .com, .net, .info, .org, .website, .space, .tech, .store. If it's an e-commerce business, think about using .store or .biz. There's also like .us. Now, obviously, that's for a United States website, but putting us on the end of it might transform your product name. You might be able to say something like Teach Us. I'm pretty sure Teach Us is already gone because it's a really good domain name, but you get the picture. And you can put in multiple keywords on Domain Wheel and it will mash them all up together, change some of them, use a thesaurus-like facility. It uses a little bit of machine learning. They like to say it uses artificial intelligence, but let's be clear, it's machine learning. But it does work really well. The next one that you will want to go and check out is called Name Mesh. Now, Name Mesh does pretty much the same thing. And with Name Mesh, what it does is it organizes everything into these very, very cool boxes. Now, one thing you need to know about Name Mesh is it partners up with Bluehost. So when you type in your first search, it's going to open up a pop-up window and show you all the wonderful stuff on Bluehost. Don't let that put you off. Bluehost is a great ISP just like everybody else out there. But when you put something into Name Mesh, it organizes it into boxes for you. It will show you similar words to the one that you put in. It will show you, brand new ideas using all these different TLDs, and they actually support a lot more TLDs than Domain Wheel does. It will show you really short ones. So, for example, we were talking about the word consulting. If you put consulting in right now at this moment when you're watching this video, it might still be available, but consult.ng with CNSLT, so yeah, removing all the vowels just like in the old days, that's available. You have mixes of words. They'll do all of the things like put ion, illy, iffy, aunts, airy, oid, yus, eyes, ism, etc., etc., etc. And so they'll add all of that to there. And they'll add all sorts of other extra words in front and behind. They'll even show you premium domains. If there's some really, really hot ones out there, they'll show you those. And although they are expensive, if you find something really, really incredible, obviously consider buying that domain. But don't buy it just yet, because we've got a couple more tricks up our sleeve. There's another one that is called Nameboy. Now, Nameboy is just like the other two. You just put in your keyword. Yes, unless you uncheck the box, it will pop up another advert for another domain name company. But again, it will go through, and it uses a different algorithm to the other two. So it will find other names that you just will not find from the other two. Now, you go through all three of these. These are three really great ones. In fact, if you Google domain name generator, you'll find a whole bunch more. Another one of my favorites was called Buster Name, and I think that's a great tool. That's got lots and lots of different options that you can switch on and off. Once you've got your short list of domain names that are available that you can buy right now, you need to go to Namecheck. Now, Namecheck is Namechk, and then you type in the word that you've got from the domain name. Now, important point, if you've taken that opportunity to grab something like teach.us, or like my portfolio website is stuartrogers.me, you need to make a decision. Is the is the TLD, is that part of your brand name? Like with teach.us, Teach Us is the obvious brand name. Is that the name? If that's the name, you need to put that into Namecheck. Namecheck will show you very simply, as soon as you put in that domain name, it will also show you all of the different domains that are available, but you know that because you've just done the check. But if you scroll down, you'll see Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, even stuff like Blogger, there's Twitch, Reddit, eBay, WordPress, etc., etc., etc. Literally, they will show you around 50 different social networks and systems, and they will highlight them to say whether they are green, which means they're available, or they'll grey them out, which means they're not available. At the point where you put in your new domain name idea and you get green on the channels that are important to you, so for me that would be Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram. At the point where all four of those go green, that is the one you put a little check by on your list. You try all your others, and then once you've got maybe one or two checks, and trust me, you won't get many more than that because, as I said, it's really hard to name things in 2020. Once you've got that, you have your shortlist. Don't wait to make a decision, make it fast. Choose which one of those is going to be the one that you want. Buy the domain name instantaneously. Most domain name suppliers will allow you to buy things like a .com for 99 cents. I always add the privacy options to register my domain names by proxy, which means that instead of my name and address details being available on the domain registrar system, it's a company that does the domain registering for you, and their details are on it. And then it's anonymous, and people can't look up your home address or any of that sort of thing by just doing a simple whois search on your domain name. Buy the domain name, then go through every social network, and all you have to do is register that username so that you've got it. And once you've got that all sorted out, you can rest. Now is your chance to open up Strikingly or WordPress or whatever is your favorite way of creating websites, attach it to the domain, start building out your site. Then you can start building up your social media, and then once you've got all of that ready, you can launch to the public your brand new product, service, website, blog, entertainment site, whatever it was that you were creating, and you'll be safe in the knowledge that you've grabbed an awesome domain name, grabbed all of the social media, and it's unique, it's interesting, it's short, it's catchy, and that's how to go about naming things in 2020 when almost all of the good names seemingly have gone. But I trust you, and I know you're going to find an awesome one out there. I hope that was really helpful. We've got 28 amazing speakers on Badass Summit ready to teach you all sorts of incredible things in marketing, business, and lifestyle. So head over to Badass Summit. It's free to attend. Make sure you check that out. And we'll see you back here on Badass School real soon with some more lessons. Thank you so much for being our patron. Really appreciate it. We would absolutely love it if you like this content, if you would share it with all of your friends. We're trying to create as much of this great content for you as possible, dropping between 2 and 4 pieces a week in videos and in written articles. And, that takes time, takes effort, and we would love you to share it with your friends so that they can come along, they can support us, but more importantly, they can get educated on all of these topics too. Thanks so much. See you on the next episode.